You want them to be in your life, but they're not. It's as blunt as that. I know it's a hard truth to accept, but it's the harsh reality that we all have to eventually come to terms with someone in our lives, whether that be a partner, a family member, a close friend, etc. Some people we just can't keep in our life, and it sucks. It really does, because we grow fond of people. As human beings, as social creatures, we really grow connected to those around us. So it's hard to let go, and it's hard to watch people go away and know that you may never interact with them again. But it's part of life. And as cliche as that saying is, as common as it is, I know many people who say that, but it's true. It's just life. And there's simplicity within those words, but there's also complexity. I know that's kind of a contradictory statement, but it is simple in some ways and complex in others. For example, simply put, that's just how life is. That's just how things go. That's how things are supposed to go. That's the formula. But the complexity is behind that. We don't know why it has to happen. We just know that it has to happen. Sometimes people just need to go away, and that's okay. Coming to terms with that reality is the most important thing you can do. It took me a long time to get used to this. I mean, before my relationship even ended, I had an instance with one of my friends, one of my closest friends. I mean, this guy's like a brother to me. And we had this big falling out. And it threw me into a big depression, honestly. Like, the ending of our friendship at that point in time was what led me into the inpatient, because I just spiraled. I got so depressed from losing my friend and my brother, and I didn't know how to handle it. Now, obviously, things are great now. I've rekindled my relationship with him, and he is such a great human being. And it sometimes, like, that does happen. Sometimes there are people that you have to let go of temporarily just because that time isn't right, but they might come back into your life later on. And then there's other people where you just have to kind of accept that there is no part two. There is no sequel. What you had is what you got. So you have to keep that in mind and hold that to heart. Relationships especially are very hard to let go of, because when you love someone, you connect with them in a way that you don't connect with anyone else. You can find connectivity similar between friends and family members, but when it comes to a loved one, a partner, a romantic partner, you love them in a way that isn't quite like anything else. It's the same as seeing the sunset for the first time, truly seeing it, or stepping foot on the ocean when the stars are out and the moon reflects off the water. It's more philosophical. When you love someone, it's like your heart blossoms. Genuinely, your heart just kind of blossoms, and you feel this special wave of feelings towards someone, and you'd be willing to give them the world. You really would. You'd do anything you could for them. And so to lose that, it really does a number on you, because you may, really love your family and really love your friends, but even in those relationships, you probably weren't feeling this way. You visualize your entire life with them. You spend days and months and years just imagining what the future has to hold. And so when that gets snatched away from you, you feel shell-shocked. But it had to happen. As sad as it is, there's nothing I can tell you right now that's going to magically solve the disappearance of that special someone in your life. As much as I wish it could. Now, I'm no professor. I don't know why we feel this way. Why love is such a powerful emotion. But we do. And that's the hard reality of it. Sometimes things just have to happen. And it's hard, but you really just have to come to terms with it. And I know I've said that a lot, but coming to terms with it doesn't look uniform. There are many different ways to come to terms with it. In my opinion, with my experience, the best way you can come to terms with it is to acknowledge that it happened, to forgive yourself, and to occupy your mind with things that identify you as a person. Because when you lose a relationship, you tend to lose your identity in most cases. Because a lot of us, when we're in a relationship, form our identities based on the relationship. Like, I know that for me personally, I always viewed myself no other way, like in none other way than so-and-so's boyfriend. And so I would have these certain identity and personality traits that like I felt like lived up to being their boyfriend. When in reality, I'm Eisen. Like, I'm a completely individual and unique person, regardless of the status of that relationship. And that, I think, was a contributing factor to the downfall of our relationship because I had lost my identity. She was no longer dating Eisen, she was just dating her boyfriend, if that makes sense. So, identity loss, I think, is very common after a relationship ends because a lot of us tend to base our identity around that one person without really diversifying and discovering what is unique, important, and valuable to us as individuals. So, in my opinion, one of the best ways to come to terms with it is to find who you are. Find who you are. And you can do that in many ways. I started finding myself and finding who I was by spending more time in my own company, enjoying the company of others and talking to friends and family, not bottling everything up, talking to myself, which might sound crazy to some people. I found it very easy to find who I was when I could almost have a conversation with myself, because then it puts everything, every value and every opinion that I have right on the table. So I just immediately know, like, oh yeah, that's who I am because I'm saying that right now, you know? But spending more time with yourself, enjoying the company of others, enjoying the company of yourself, you know, discovering things that you like, doing things that you don't know, like putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, talking to new people. I mean, just today, I asked a guy in the gym if he could spot my PR, and I met him, and he was a really cool dude. I just went up to the first guy I saw because I was like, man, I really want to test my PR today, but I don't have anyone with me. I'm not training with anyone, and I don't want to attempt it by myself. So I went up to the nearest guy, and I was just like, hey, man, like, do you have a couple minutes? I just wanted, I was just trying to hit a PR real quick, and I was wondering if you could spot me. He's like, yeah, of course. And so he came and spotted me, and then this dude was big. Like, he was strong. And so I was like, he started giving me advice. He was like, yeah, it looks like, you're almost turning it more into a shoulder press instead of a bench press because you're pulling the weight kind of closer to you instead of going straight out. And so I was like, okay, shit, like, I'm going to listen to you, bro, because you were massive. So I listened to him, I took his advice, and, I got to meet him, and he was a really cool dude. And then I saw another guy that I had talked to last week, and I've seen him a couple times in the gym now, and he said, what's up? And I said, what's up? So that just brings a smile to my face. Like, it genuinely just makes me happier to interact with humans and, like, talk to other people in such an optimistic and socialist way, But I don't know. I think that is the best way to come to terms with what happened and to discover yourself. So that's my little spiel on relationships and loved ones. I hope you guys enjoy. I'm fucking dying right now, sweating like crazy because this car is hot, but if I turn the AC on or crack the window, then there's more noise interference, so I don't want to mess up with your guys' entertainment and enjoyment. But how we feel about the new facial hair? I've been, obviously, if you guys have been watching consistently, like I've been growing this out for like a while now, but I've been starting to like really grow out like this, almost this goatee kind of on the bottom, and I feel like it's coming in pretty nicely. At first it was a little patchy, but I think it's starting to actually like fill in. So anyway, I have to go to therapy soon, so I'm gonna go home and catch that, but I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Take something out of it. Please subscribe if you're enjoying this content. It would really mean the world to me. I'm gonna try and stay as consistent as I can with this. I know I've fallen off in consistency, but I'm trying to still give you guys multiple uploads a week. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm doing in life right now and trying to get a plan going, because I want to do this full time, but my parents have been kind of on my ass about going to school and like finding, getting a solid plan in place. And so I've been kind of at a crossroads. I've really just been trying to balance everything. But thank you guys to everyone who's followed me on this journey. Thank you so much for sticking around, and I hope that I could help someone out today. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Peace out. Stay blessed.